I wanted to ask you about free speech. Some people don't really understand what free speech is. Can you give me your opinion on it?
Yeah, free speech is a beautiful thing, and I take it very seriously. I come from an intellectual background that values free speech a lot, and I would say I'm maybe on the more extreme side of defending it. That's something that's really important.
Mm,
And so, free speech is simply the right and the ability. It has to be both because you may have the right but not the ability, but it's the right and the ability to speak your mind on a range of topics. Anything that you want to say, you should be able to say. Now, it's not
mhm,
the same thing, and this is kind of where the caveats come in. It's not the same thing as having a right to a platform, right? Is you can have the right to say whatever you want, but for you to have distribution and have a platform that
mm.
anything you say will be reached, will reach millions,
Especially the influencer world, right?
right? Like that's not a right that anyone has. Like you can say whatever you want to yourself or to a small audience or to whoever is willing to listen. But to say that you have the right of virality or the right of a platform, the way like Twitter, right? Like Twitter, I think part of the interesting conversation is, when Twitter was bought,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like, are you buying virality? Are you buying a platform through which you essentially can um, almost like claim the right of distribution that is
Mm,
not a right that like people are familiar with with coming to terms with. So
mhm.
getting back to your question, everyone has the right to free speech, and I believe in that firmly. It doesn't mean everyone has the right to be viral or to be reached by millions. That is sort of
Yeah,
earned.
especially when you have a position of influence.
Yeah, that is hard earned, and that is not easy, and it doesn't come for granted. Like you almost being born in this country, you can take for granted your free speech, but
Mhm.
don't assume that the whole world's going to listen to you. Another note that I think is really important and people sort of like to skip sometimes is free speech has consequences, meaning that whatever you say, you take accountability for, and you will be met with criticism, and you'll be met with maybe even castigation. Like you will be ostracized in certain ways if things you say are not popular or
Yeah.
the opposite of popular. They're just disdained, and so
Yeah,
it comes with
literally the
consequence.
first thing that came to my mind was, Kanye West
Right.
when
I think it's a great example.
started just, speaking his mind and lost so many, like, business deals and, I think what was it, Adidas or something? He
Yeah,
was with Adidas and they, like, cut him off because of his free speech, right?
for sure. I think that's a great instance. Like he has the right to
Yeah.
say the things he says. The things he says are hateful, are anti-Semitic, are uncomfortable and strange in many cases. And I think Adidas was like the last of it. But there's so much
Mhm.
goodwill that he has forsaken for this weird desire to be publicly hateful. And
Right,
that's a
right.
great instance. It's like you can have free speech, but it's not, you know, it has costs.
Right, right.
If you're
Especially if it's
willing to,
not, especially if you're in a position of influence, um, and it's not true.
I mean, yeah, and it's also hateful. It's also hate speech.
Yeah.
There always have to be some boundaries around threatening and hate speech that are like I don't think they have to be elaborate. Like I do think the society
Yeah. That's
itself,
the slippery slope
right?
of free speech is that fine line between free
Yeah,
speech and then what is hate. Because then if you censor hate speech, then it's not free speech because
for
it's
sure,
like
for sure.
because free speech includes everything, even hateful stuff.
Yeah, I feel like there are some easy guardrails that like you shouldn't be able to threaten somebody,
Or
and
murder, like,
you
I'm
shouldn't be
gonna
able to threaten
come to
somebody,
your house and
right?
freaking
Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's protected. I feel like that's well defined. Is like you cannot threaten somebody, which
Yeah.
mean you can't disagree with them, or you can't sort of
Mm.
say mean things. You can say that, but if you are actively threatening violence or
Yeah, yeah.
like that,
That's a line.
that's an easy thing to, or it's slightly clearer of a guardrail to break.
Yeah. Yeah.